U.S. President Donald Trump on Tuesday pardoned Oregon cattle ranchers Dwight Hammond and his son Stephen after both were convicted on arson charges in a case that sparked an armed occupation of the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge in 2016.
Imagine living in a country that sees no problem when white ranchers set fires on federal land and then inspire a 41-day armed militia standoff against the police, but absolutely loses its mind when black people have the audacity to take a knee against police brutality. Why won't the football man stand? That's goddamn un-American. Well, they say one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter, and this is especially true when it comes to white terror privilege in the US, where far right-wing terror is responsible for more than 75% of domestic terror incidents. And while the anarchist in me remains sympathetic to anyone protesting an overbearing state, I cannot ignore the Trump administration's clear double standard depending on who's doing the protesting. Because when the protesters are black, the Trump administration actively vilifies the protests, sparking national outrage.
Get that son of a bitch off the field right now.
But if it's a spiteful cause, like keeping Confederate second-place trophies up, then the administration is surprisingly open-minded.
I think there's blame on both sides.
No. The Nazis and their sympathizers who marched alongside of them are not very fine people, especially the domestic terrorist who drove into a crowd and killed Heather Heyer, the Antifa counter-protester. But that hasn't stopped Republican legislators from trying and failing to write bills that legalize running over protesters. There's even an anti-Antifa protest bill in the works that will imprison anyone who wears a mask or a disguise during a protest. It's literally called the Unmasking Antifa Act. Reminder, suppressing the First Amendment rights of Antifa protesters is unconstitutional. Also, anti-fascism is pro-fascism. And this double standard extends to freedom of speech within conservatism. College campuses in states with Republican legislators are making it harder to protest speakers, which, again, is a violation of the First Amendment. But it's okay, I guess, because conservatives should never face protests in the US. This is parallel reasoning to believing that it's gosh darn patriotic when a bunch of horned up Duck Dynasty bros take over a bird sanctuary and get into a fucking firefight with the federales, but God forbid a black athlete takes a knee to protest police brutality. Then all hell breaks loose. But none of this is new. Black people protesting in the United States have always faced a different set of legal standards. We all know the NRA opposes any type of restrictions on gun owners, especially when calls for those restrictions come in the wake of a mass murder at a middle school. Not the good time to talk about gun control then. But in 1967, when armed Black Panthers began patrolling their neighborhoods, the NRA, Ronald Reagan, and California Republicans united together to support gun control. Once black people started believing Second Amendment rights applied to them too, the NRA suddenly discovered the value of restricting gun rights. Other things never change either, like the double standard between letting white protesters exercise their rights to the fullest extent and shutting down people of color and their allies the moment they try to do the same thing. I don't mind pardoning the Hammonds, okay? But don't think for a moment that this isn't purely ideological. The rule of law is only as fair as the color of your skin. Ask yourself, why did this administration turn a blind eye to right-wing terror when it's doubled in 2017 alone? Or when far-right extremism is responsible for 75% of domestic terrorism since 9/11, but our government is still talking about Muslim bans, targeting black identity extremists, and locking up black activists over fake news agents see on InfoWars videos? Do you actually think they care about protecting our rights and our safety? Or do you think they just care about coddling the loudest racists in the room? I'm Hassan Piker, and if you're tired of this double standard, please share this video with your friends and leave your thoughts in the comment section below. And don't forget to download the TYT app for iPhones, and it's coming to Android soon. And this has been The Breakdown.